and welcome to the Deep Connect Show, the place to help you feel deeply connected to yourself, your desires, and in your relationships. I'm your host, Rachel. In previous episodes, I brought you the experts in love, dating, relationships, and communication. We even looked inside our bathroom drawers, and I revealed my intimates to you. We discussed social media and the impacts it had on connecting deeper with our lives. We also discussed one of my favorite ways to deeply connect in my life, cooking, where I discussed the importance of making food, meals, and cooking a part of your self-care practice. This episode will blow you away with all the tools and resources you need to feel super connected, super quick. My guests today are national love wizards and experts in love, dating, and communication, and my personal coaches. Creators of the Soulmate Fast Track, Mark and Lynetta, they travel all over the U.S., helping people find the love of their lives and help existing couples spice up the connection. Lynetta is a certified transformational coach, trained in Avatar, Landmark Education, and Matrix Energetics, and the most important role of her life as my sister. Mark is a dream builder life coach and Avatar wizard, trained in Landmark Education, Matrix Energetics, and Emotional Freedom Techniques. Welcome, Lynetta and Mark, to the show. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
I know, I'm so exciting. Thank you so much. I have a question for you guys, and because I just love this story. Yeah. Lynetta, this is for you. You guys have been married for about 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you love best about being in a relationship?
Well, I love to look at Mark when I tell this story because it helps me to reconnect all over again with when we first met. And first off, when I first met Mark, I looked into his eyes and saw that he could deeply accept all of me. There was nothing that I would have to hide from him, and I knew that right away. And our whole relationship, I have been able to open up every door inside of me, even the mystery doors that I never opened up to anybody. And I rarely even admitted that I had them, because I didn't totally accept everything about me, but I could see he could accept all of me. Just by looking into his eyes, I could feel that.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I love being able to share everything about myself with him in total acceptance.
How about you, Mark?
I'd actually have to say the same thing. Being able to share all of myself and not have to hold anything back, things I've struggled with my whole life, and to know that I can share it all and do share it all. And Lynetta has absolute full acceptance of me and full support of me, and I have never had this in my life to this level, and it is just out of this world.
And you can definitely feel it too. Whenever I'm in the room or other people in the room, you said somebody just the other day out of nowhere commented on the energy of it. So how did you guys meet?
Well, we were actually at a workshop together, and we had done some mini exercises, and then they said there were about 80 people in the room, and we were in a big circle, and they said, now we're going to do a very significant exercise. So pick somebody you're really interested in doing a significant exercise with. And I was all the way across the room from Lynetta, about 80 people, and they said, go. And I look at her, and she's eyeing people on both sides of her. But I noticed nobody was moving for a few seconds, and then I just said, the heck with it. I'm going for it. And I literally stormed right across the room, 80 people, and I went right up to her, and I said, you.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, didn't expect this.
Has anybody ever done that to you?
Not with the like, he had such determination and confidence. I was so surprised because he was like so laser focused on me, and there was this confidence that I was taken aback, like, wow, this guy's really coming after me. And I never experienced someone with such determination fierce determination coming after me, and it was really yummy to experience.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll tell you that I had never done anything like that in my life.
Really?
Oh, I was just like, I'm going all out here.
Your intuition was on track with that one.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
As you told me, you said, hey, I have nothing to lose.
Yep, the worst is she says no, and I can take a no here.
Right. So that sounds amazing for several reasons. However, though, we know that relationships, when we really get down to the nitty-gritty, is it always kittens and rainbows with you guys? I mean, really, what is the most, what's the flip side to that? So what's the most challenging part about being in a relationship? Mark.
Well, this may not be exactly the answer you're looking for, but to be honest, the most challenging thing in our relationship is getting out of bed in the morning. But not just because of sex, but it's like we often wake up in the early morning, like maybe 4:35 in the morning, and we'll share what dreams we were having. And sometimes there's stuff from the past that we realize needs to be cleared that the dreams are kind of hinting at. And then we have all kinds of clearing techniques we use. And then we start moving into creating, like what do we want to create in our life? And it can be hours until we get out of bed because it's just, we love being together. We love the intimacy on all the levels. And the clearing and the creating and the sharing and the cuddling, like all of it is just so juicy.
How often do you start your day like that?
Every single morning.
Every
It's been
single
that
morning.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single
Pretty
morning.
much. We don't always wake up at 4:30, but
Sometimes he lets me sleep till 5.
now sometimes
so generous of
sometimes
you.
we do some of this and we go back to sleep and then we wake up and do some more and go back to sleep. So no day is the same. Every day is different.
That's amazing. So how did the Soulmate Fast Track come about? Exactly, where did it originate from? Lynetta, what would you?
I would say we started in about a year after we got together. We were like, you know, the most juiciest, yummiest part of our life is our relationship. We feel like we really have mastered the area of love and relationships with our relationship with each other. But we were, so far, we had just really been nesting and guarding our time alone together.
Yeah, of course.
And we really weren't ready to be full out and sharing with other people yet. We were in our honeymoon. So after about a year, we were like, okay, let's share what we have found so powerful in our own life, in our love and empowering each other, supporting each other. And we know that other people would benefit so much from this. So we started to really develop what we wanted to create to help other people have what we have.
Yeah, and we asked the question, what is it that created us to be so amazing together? And we looked at our whole history before each of us, before we were together, like what did we go through in life and how did we end up looking at it? How do we process all of our history before we even got together? And then what are all the techniques and tools that we've used since we've been together? And we just looked at it all, and then we created a pack and said, oh, we can teach this to people in 2 or 3 months. Everything that we've learned about what it takes to have an amazing relationship.
So when you say pack, what's the delivery method of the Soulmate Fast Track?
So what we do is we do a weekly video, a live video, where we share some of the principles. Then we have the participants do the actual, there's always exercises to do, so they get it in their body. Like, this is not about head stuff. It's about, you have to feel it, you have to experience it for yourself to really have it.
Yeah. Exercises that will take them into an embodied experience. So it's something that's in your daily life, which is how it's been for us in our daily life.
Yeah, and in fact, we actually partner people up on the program with somebody else so that they'll do at least a 5-minute exercise every morning of what we teach them, so they really get it inside themselves.
Do they need to wake up at 4:30 a.m.?
No, that is not a requirement.
No, it's only if they love to do that.
Oh. They may not be as ambitious as you two, right?
Yeah.
But how do you know that it works for other people, though? For real, because when you find something that works for you, it's one thing to think that it might be beneficial to everyone else. But how do you really know it can be transferable?
Well, we've coached a lot of people using these techniques, and some of them are already manifesting their soulmates. Like people who have had all kinds of difficult relationships their whole lives, some of them even in their 60s. And it's like, for the first time, I have somebody who feels like a real partner. So we're hearing it. We're seeing the results.
Well, I'd like to throw in my testimonial that certainly you guys are responsible for me connecting with my soulmate and a love beyond my wildest dreams. So I just really want to really say thank you here for that.
That's the best acknowledgement. And really, that's so rewarding and fulfilling for us, because that's what we are up to in the world, is hearing these stories just like yours.
For sure. So I just like to get to the nitty gritty, Lynetta, so maybe you can help me out. So
we're gonna get real intimate here.
Well, what about, let's go deep.
Let's deep connect.
So what are we doing wrong for those people that are out there kind of wandering the world saying, yeah, I'd love to have a soulmate, but it's just not happening. I'm dating all these losers, or, what are those people doing wrong?
Well, the answer to your question is in your question. What are we doing wrong? Which assumes that you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong, and you never have been doing anything wrong. You've been collecting data all these
Some
times.
of us more than others.
Yes. I counted once all the relationships I had been through, and I'd have to say it's a large number, but there were some really significant relationships that helped me to really get to what I wanted and what I didn't want.
Yeah.
And now I look back, and it's like, I would not say any one of those relationships were failures. Those relationships were they were golden nuggets.
Education.
Yeah, they showed me what are my core values? What do I have to have in relationship? What am I an absolute no to? And what am I an absolute, oh yes, I'm a yes for that? And what lights me up?
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't have had all those relationships, I wouldn't be in this magical relationship right now. I wouldn't have all that information.
So what would you tell somebody right now who's in front of you and saying, I feel like a failure in relationships right now, just the nugget, like what would you tell them?
Look at each relationship and mine for the gold. Dig down, you may have to go deep underneath the hurt and disappointment, but underneath that, there's pure gold in there.
And if I could elaborate on that, at the very minimum, what you can do is look at each, quote, failed relationship, which is not language we use, but look at it and say, what do I now know I don't want in future relationships from all the things you didn't like? And there were always aspects, things you did like in each relationship, and what are the things that I really do want? And just take every relationship that you have an emotional charge on, and that can be family stuff also, and say, what do I not want and what do I want?
So Mark, can you give us the quick nugget, the gold of how people can meet their soulmate?
Yes. Now this will sound strange because it's not about the soulmate, it's actually about you. And
me?
And everybody. Well, and everybody who's watching.
This is fabulous.
You love it when it's all about you, don't you?
Because what had me storm across the room to Lynetta is she got her greatness. Now, I had also gotten mine a few years before when I had a previous relationship that was ending. So the biggest thing to do is getting your own greatness. And one of the keys that we do is we use acknowledgments as a huge part, a huge tool to get your own greatness. You acknowledge all the amazing attributes that you have.
So self-acknowledgement.
Self-acknowledgement.
Yeah, that was important for me.
Yes.
Too. Yeah, for sure.
And when you get your greatness, it's almost like they're going to be attracted. They're going to be magnetized to you. They will storm across the room to find you when you get your greatness.
When you're magnetized to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
So do people, Lynetta, do people need to be single to take the Soulmate Fast Track, or can couples take it?
Oh, couples can take this. This can really spice up your relationship with your existing partner.
How so?
Well, like what we've done in our own relationship, we found many ways to create deeper intimacy with each other.
But did you ever have a slump? Or
We've had speed bumps.
speed bumps.
Yeah. And those may last a few minutes, maybe an hour or two.
Right. Because you're really given the tools, like the tools that we use to go deeper and deeper into intimacy, those we give you. So that's what creates the spice, is having these ways of working even deeper into intimacy with each other.
Yeah, and when you talk about speed bumps, whenever there's something in the way of intimacy, what we do is we go beyond the painful memories, emotions, whatever's going on, the conflict, and you go down to the root below everything. And you find the root and you clear out that original cause. And then you actually have more energy to be more intimate with your partner than you've ever had before.
Yeah, I can attest to that, definitely. That brings me to, because you're just describing a technique that you use. So how would you say that your coaching style is unique from all the coaches that are out there in this, especially in this topic, in this area?
Well, I'd say one of the differences is that Lynetta and I do our coaching together. I mean, most coaches are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either a single guy, well, it could be married, or a woman.
Yeah.
But we're married and we do our coaching together. So they get the full perspective of a man and a woman.
Yeah. And I just want to say that this is really crucially important, because for me, when I experienced it with you two, it was the representation of masculine and feminine energy. So I just wanted to say that it was different than any coaching I'd ever received because of that piece. There are many other reasons, but in particular, I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's one piece. And then the second piece, it's kind of funny because you acknowledged all our credentials at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the credentials, in fact, what really attracted me about Lynetta, once we started to talk and she really shared about her background, is all the so-called failures people would say she had. Previous marriages and all kinds of areas of life that people would look at and say, oh my God, you did that? And it's like, I look at it and like, wow, she really went after life experience. So between the two of us, we have huge life experience with all the things you can do wrong in relationships. And that's even more valuable, in my opinion, than the trainings are.
Right. Yeah.
Because we've come through it and we see it, as Lynetta said, as gold.
Yeah.
Everything we've gone through is gold now.
Speaking of gold, and you mentioned spice earlier, let's talk about sex.
Okay. I was going to say, we also show you how to embody, everything that we're teaching. We have you embody it, which is quite different from
Experiential.
experiential.
Yeah, which is also very important, because we need to feel it in our bodies before we can create it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now we can go back to your
I just want to make sure before that we run out of time that we cover the topic of sex, because I know that people are wanting to know how can we be having amazing sex.
Right.
So what's your recommendation for that?
So my first thing that I needed to really clear with myself was, I thought that sex was about me pleasuring the man, and I didn't even look at what I wanted. I was focused on, okay, what does the man want, and how can I make this an amazing experience for him? And I started to get that, I really need to check in and see, what do I want, and what's going to feel really good to me. And I didn't realize how I had not done that until I got into this relationship. And he said, no, I don't want that. I want you to bring all of you and have you experience as much pleasure as you can experience. And I was like, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're saying the criteria then for great sex is, could you summarize that and put it in a nugget?
Oh. Without doing a demo.
That'll be the next show.
Oh, okay.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of people viewing that one.
So for you, one tip for great sex would be to
tune into my own body.
Okay.
And see what I want.
Okay. How about you, Mark?
I would say getting to the place where you don't have any belief about how you or your partner is supposed to be. Like, there's no more, they're not supposed to be a certain way anymore. Like, that's just completely cleared out of your energetic space.
Sexually.
Every domain.
Okay.
There's just no way they're supposed to be. And then you're just in this open space of creation. And that's why I actually don't prefer the word sex. I literally prefer, even making love, I would literally say it's creating love. It's sort of like, how do we want to create love right now? There's no way we have to do it. We're totally free. You're amazing. I'm amazing. Let's just be present with each other and see how it manifests.
That's awesome. Now, Mark, you're a rabbi, and we're talking about sex. So is that allowed?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And it's actually kind of funny because when Lynetta shared from her religious background how she was taught that the woman is supposed to please the man, I was like, oh, no, you guys got it all wrong. You know, in the Jewish world, it's actually the man who has duties to pleasure the woman, like the exact opposite.
Wow.
And it was really funny when we shared that. It was like, honey, sorry. I'm obligated to you.
Wow. Now, I wanted to make sure we briefly touch on what about those relationships that might be in trouble, that are experiencing some hardships. Can all relationships be saved? Mark?
Well, I have a couple different thoughts. You know, on the one hand, Lynette and I both have previous relationships, even marriages. And on a certain level, I'm really grateful that neither of us stuck with them, that we decided, you know what, this isn't everything it could be. And it's painful to let go. You know, I have a son who was 11 at the time I got divorced, and that was the most painful thing I had to do in my life.
Yeah.
But I am so grateful that I did because of what we have now. And I'd also say it depends on the commitment that people have. Like, you really need both people to be committed if they're going to, quote, try to make it work. And most importantly, they need tools they probably don't have. I know if I had the tools that I have now in my previous marriage, that really could have turned out to be something amazing. But I didn't, and people really need to get the tools, and this is why we're here on your show, because we want to share those tools with people.
And you have a very powerful tool that you're sharing free with people.
Yeah,
right?
On our website we created a free report, the 4 Secrets to Creation. This is to create anything in your life. It could be improved health, it could be money, or an amazing, loving relationship. Yeah.
So how about you, Lynetta? What would you say to the question, how do you know when to call it quits or really to commit and just throw yourself all into it and try to save a relationship? Where is that fine line?
If your partner is willing to clear anything, when I say clearing, you may not all know what that means, but it's willing to look at everything in your life and own it. And Mark is relentless at looking at everything in his life. And I knew that he would go the mile, and he would go beyond. In other relationships I had, they weren't willing to own their stuff. They weren't willing to look at it, and they weren't willing to do whatever it takes to clear that out.
And just to add, the whatever it takes, most people unfortunately believe to clear something emotional from the past, is going to be like horrendously emotional and take forever and rip their guts open. And the techniques we have are so fast and so easy and relatively painless. And most people just don't know how easy it is to clear the past out of their space. And that's the biggest stop.
Yeah, and if there's one nugget that I would want people to take away is just that it can be easy, it can be quick, it can literally with under 20 minutes, and that's also one of the reasons why I love your guys' coaching style is because it's so accessible. It's easy. You guys do it over the phone or Skype, and so literally when I am feeling that pebble in my emotional shoe, I can shoot a text to you guys and say, are you guys available, or when are you available? And to be able to deal with it at the onset of that irritation is so crucial, and I think it's really unique to what you guys are doing. So it's super powerful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also love this style of freedom that you guys are living right now with living in an RV across the nation. Lynetta, tell me a little bit about that, what that experience is like for you.
I actually all my life had wanted to do this since I was very little. The feeling of freedom to be able to leave in any time and be ready to just go from one beautiful state national park to the next and see all these beautiful forests and oceans that we have, it gives me such a sense of expansion, and I open up my heart, my mind, and really connect with nature. It brings me back to my true essence, being out in nature. And I'm a being of freedom. I love the gypsy, kind of the gypsy or nomad.
Yes.
There's such freedom in it.
Yeah. How about you, Mark? Because you were in corporate and IT for a long time, which doesn't exactly sound like it's the, yay, let's go live in an RV type, right? So what has that experience been like for you?
Well, both of us hugely love nature. So we both feel totally at home in nature. And we actually love like shooting videos in nature, and we do a lot of our coaching. We actually do use technology significantly. In fact, we even figured out a way to have, improved cell service so we can coach somebody like you when we're in a forest somewhere.
Yeah.
And we actually love that.
Is that something you're also willing to share with people if they want to? I hear a lot of it right now where people are wanting more freedom in their lives, and that means downsizing and living in an RV and seeing more of the world. So is that something you're willing to talk with people about too?
Oh, not only talk, but we're actually creating a blog about how to live in an RV full time.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and what are the tools and the best ways to do that? Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a blast.
That's awesome. I know I love hearing when I get the videos and the pictures of where you guys are at. It's super amazing.
Yeah, and one of the other reasons we also chose it is we also want to be doing workshops and speaking at spiritual centers, churches, synagogues, study groups. So we're purposely living in the RV so we can just drive somewhere with our home and do a presentation, a weekend, whatever. Yeah.
Freedom. It's all about freedom.
Yes.
I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We have a blast on and off camera. Thank you for being on the show and sharing your wisdom and the Soulmate Fast Track experience, because it's really profound. Look forward to more shows on ways to deeply connect with yourself, your desires, and in your relationships. I'm your host, Rachel, and I will see you on the deep side.